What's going on, everyone? This is Intrix and I'm back again with another Conqueror's Blade video. This time I'm going to be covering, and I'm going to attempt to say this, my apologies if I don't get the name correct, the Selemchid Cavalry. This was one of the first tiers of units that you can unlock in Season 2 for being a 3-star light cav unit. It's supposed to kind of be slightly better than the Iron Cap Scouts, although I feel like that they're just more fluffed up and not really what they're cut out to be. There are some mechanics that they got that might be a slightly altered play style. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I never really was a big fan of them, which is why I never played them. I tried them again in Season 3. Again, I'm just not really sold on them, but for the sake of just reaching out to my viewers, the people that are requesting that I make videos, as well as me just understanding what the units are really about, I decided to just try it again, to give it a fair shot, and so that way I can at least make a fair review about what I think about them. I'm going to make a lot of comparisons to Iron Cap Scouts with these guys, because I feel like that the Iron Cap Scouts are the better choice of unit. If there was a seasonal unit you want to unlock, any of the other Season 2 units are a better pick than this one. That's just my opinion, though. Or even focus on Season 3 units, but don't waste your time unlocking this unless you absolutely have to, forced by the game's mechanics, because it's just a waste of time, in my opinion. So just looking at the veterancy tree here, the bottom one isn't really worth your time at all. It's the top tree that you're going to want to go. So kind of similar to the Iron Cap Scouts, you'll get some damage increases, you'll get charge boost, damage, and all that. But right off the get-go, even just looking, I mean, as a 3-star unit, obviously it's going to have more leadership to use. This one uses 170. The Iron Cap Scouts use 115. There was a couple mechanics in Season 2 that made this not so much of a burden to use. 170 leadership is quite a bit to use, and I feel like it's just wasted on this unit. In comparison, if you use Iron Cap Scouts, you could probably squeeze 2 peasant units, maybe even a sword militia. But yeah, it's definitely hard to justify the leadership. It was slightly cheaper in leadership costs to use Season 2 units during Season 2, but obviously that's changed now that we're in Season 3. Another mechanic that's gone is the Carnifex bonus set, where you get an additional 100 leadership. In Season 3, that's been changed to give plus 10 to all attribute points. So yeah, just looking at their stats here, they're only slightly faster than my Iron Cap Scouts because I do have a speed doctrine on them. They seem to be a lot more beefier in their attacks. They got a lot more buffer armor penetration, slightly better damage, but a lot more emphasis on the armor penetration. And when it comes to defenses in comparison, they're not really that much more tankier. So yeah, that's just really the blunt of it all. Also, I'm not sure what's going to change with this unit. My assumption was that they were going to put Season 2 units into their own tree, kind of like they did with Season 1 in the Rattan, but they didn't. So whether they're going to do this in Season 4 or not, I don't really know at this point. It's kind of interesting because, you know, as I said, they did Rattans for Season 1 and kind of put them in their own tree, and they have nodes that can be unlocked. So it'd be interesting to see what type of nodes could be unlocked in the future. Just keep in mind that, you know, like, the Iron Cap Scouts are what they are, but you also have nodes that you can unlock in their tree. So I never even bothered yet, but like, you could level up their tree, the nodes in their tree too. So yeah, I just haven't played it that much. I just haven't poured my points into it. But that's another angle to look at there, is that you're also going to get benefits of leveling nodes, whereas the Selemchid. Sorry, I can't pronounce it, but you're not going to get any extra bonuses to them. Now, let's just bring up the Iron Cap Scouts here and just look at their stats. So, right off the bat, you see that they're slightly lower. Definitely a bit weaker when it comes to defenses, but in comparison, like, we're not getting more of a buffer unit. Like, it's not like they're going to last a lot longer. It's still a glass cannon unit. And with that being said, you're definitely going to have to play smart. Now, there is a mechanic that's probably going to game change how you use this unit right off the bat. Iron Cat Scouts, you got to get them to around, I believe, level 7-ish to unlock charge. This unit right out of level 1 will have charge available to you. Now, when you max both these, here's the difference. Iron Cat Scouts will have a charge cooldown of 30 seconds, but the Selemchid will have 24 seconds. And I would say that that's probably the highest selling point of this unit, that you're going to get the lowest cooldown in a charge, probably in the whole game, but most definitely for a cavalry unit. No one's going to compete with that charge cooldown. And seconds really do matter when you're in situations where you're lined up and you're ready to go and you're moving quick and you just want to go and you're looking at your cooldown timer and you're like 3, 4, 5 seconds out. So, like, I totally get that. And that's probably a nice feature to have. I just don't know if that's going to be the most greatest selling point of it all. It really depends on you, your playstyle, what you do. It's still a glass cannon unit. I think that if you can keep them alive and if you can charge into them, that if they have the ability to strike a swing, that they're probably going to clean out more nicely. But here's another element to look in as well, is that the charge damage between these two units. So Iron Cap Scouts, once maxed out, they get an additional 43% of charge damage, whereas the Selemchid only get 28%. So now you kind of see the difference, right? They're not going to hit as hard with their charges, but they do get 6 seconds shedded off their cooldown timer. Is that enough? I really don't know. Again, like, you got to make sure that they stay alive and maybe they can get a swing and maybe they can clean up just by doing a melee. But typically when you charge, you want to do as much damage as you can. When it comes to heavier units, Iron Cap Scouts aren't going to wipe or clear the map, especially in Season 3, but they can definitely pack a punch. And when it's all said and done, if you send your units in, can you guarantee they're going to get out alive to go back in again? So there's a whole lot of what ifs and all that stuff. It really depends on your play style and do you really value this unit. I don't really want to talk down to it, but I feel like that there's just better comparisons out there. So now that you had a moment to think about that, the cost. The cost is going to hurt. Right off the bat, these guys use blue horses and their kits. Well, the benefit in Season 2 was that I believe they were like half price or significantly cheaper. Not the case anymore. So they might have been more fair-ish to use in Season 2, but Season 3, it's definitely going to cost you. Is it really worth it? Genets are green horses, and they're so common and they're so cheap that it's not going to break your bank. It just is not going to break your bank. Also, if you wanted to pull them from resource nodes, it's going to be really easy to do that. You can even pull green horses, green genets out of a white horse node. And it's not going to break your bank. So blue horses, they start to get a little bit more expensive. And, for a unit just doesn't seem like it's gonna have any better survivability. Don't know if it's worth it. Um, it's definitely gonna cost you a lot on bronze, but yeah, that's pretty much the ins and outs. Now there was a change that they did. I believe they came out with a hot fix slightly before the end of season 2. If it wasn't season 2, then it was the patch going into season 3. They added a wedge formation finally. Their formations were quite horrible in the beginning because they had dispersed and they had the line. They did not have a wedge, and that was just horrible. Like, the wedge formation definitely makes it a bit better to play, but again, I just don't think they put enough emphasis into this unit to really make it worth your while. So, like, just overall, it still seems like you're getting a better value, a better bang for your buck, and overall a well-rounded unit. And by that, I'm referring to Iron Cap Scouts. And I think it's kind of funny because, like, even how they operate in terrain, the Iron Cap Scouts seem to just do slightly better or even significantly better in most terrains. So yeah, how much this unit's actually going to perform, what it's really going to do to you, I wish I could speak more to it. I really wish I could. It's just, unfortunately, I cannot put this unit on a pedestal. I got to be honest, and I just got to say it for what it is. I think even to newer players, it's just not worth it. If you're looking at unlocking it, I think you're better off just spending the time to get a unit that you know is worth your time and effort to unlock and to unlock for free. I have no idea in the future how the devs are going to work on doing this, but if they require you to spend honor to unlock this, right off the get-go, you know that you're going to spend more honor unlocking this unit than you would if you were to unlock the Iron Cap Scouts. I know I referenced these guys a lot in this video, but I gotta tell you, like, I got a whole video separate to the Iron Cap Scouts that I recommend that you watch. They are a great unit. But for the sake of just reviewing these guys, I definitely got to refer you to a better unit, because for what you're paying, for all the work and effort that you're doing just to obtain this unit, to work with the unit, what it's got to do for you when it's all said and done, the only thing that you really got that you can try to sell anybody is a 6-second shorter cooldown on a charge. Now, it sounds really great, but when it comes down to reality, how much is that really going to be worth it? Well, it could be the make or break. I mean, 6 seconds is significant. So again, thinking about scenarios, I'm not going to play with this unit. I'm just not. But just thinking about scenarios, I'm thinking that, again, I remember playing Iron Cap Scouts, and I can probably get a couple charges out. Well, it's going to be the same thing with this unit, right? Even more so. I need to try to pop off as many charges as I can before the unit's just no good to me. They're dead, or they're just too wiped. So to be this fast of a unit, this fast of a moving unit, like, you can get around people quick. But if you can't pop your charge, you're most definitely not gonna do that well. Like, you're just gonna wipe. Like, you need your unit to move. So having that slightly cooler, or that slightly less cooldown on your charge, I think it's a nice feature. I just don't know if it's going to be everything. I don't think it's going to be the selling point on this. The only consolation I can say is having the charge right off the get go, and just, yeah, because it's not fun to use a unit and then have to level it up, like, what, to level 6, level 7. I know it doesn't take forever, but still, you play a cavalry unit that you cannot charge at something and tell me how much fun you're having. Um, do that in season 3, especially, and tell me how much fun you're having. So that's definitely a good point right there. With that being said, this is Intrix signing off. Have yourself a wonderful day.